What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we're going to take a look at classic Spider-Man suit from the video game series Spider-Man from Hot Toys, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below. Any other Hot Toys or Spider-Man figure, that's my go-to place, so go ahead and check them out. I'll put the link down below. Let's unbox this thing. So the box is quite big, and I'm assuming that's because of the backdrop, and to be quite honest, that is one of the biggest attraction for me, is the fact that it's a classic suit plus the backdrop, because I can just envision myself using that backdrop for a lot of figures, not just Spider-Man. I think that could work for Daredevil, minus the scorpion sign though. But if you take a picture at the right angle, it would work, right? It would work. Now, there's a whole ton of Spider-Man figures out there from Hot Toys from this Spider-Man game, and rightfully so. The game is fantastic, one of my favorite games of all time, but I'm not gonna collect them all. I mean, it's just too much money. It's just, I'm gonna be selective. Trust me, if they were really cheap, it is really tempting to get them all, because they're all beautiful. They're the Ox suit, I think that's one thing on my radar as well, because they bring something special, to in their own unique way. Even though they're still Spider-Man, you can almost like justify it to buy them all. However, I have to do some self-control here, but some aspects here are surprised me, by the way. I mean, this one didn't. I mean, I know what to expect, but I didn't know that the tail is this massive. It's just long, and it feels like rubber, like foam, so to speak, that's wrapped. It feels like those bendy wires that we use for stands, wrapped in a foam that is well painted. But it just surprised me on how big that thing is, and I'm sure the price is actually not bad. I think this is around 260, 270, something like that, which is, considering what is included, I understand it doesn't have a head sculpt, but to compare it with other Spider-Man figures in this line, I mean, I think it's pretty good value. And as far as accessories, you got fisted hands, the meme hands, the pointing hands, and you got the wall crawling hands, you got the web shooter hands, where you could actually take out the side panel and replace it with the kind of web shooting motion there. You got the newspaper hand and basically the web holding hand, and those are the shooters, the one that you see there. So you could take them out and replace them as you wish. And the typical webbings that you would see for any Spider-Man figure, kind of like the aggressive shot, and if he's navigating around those cobwebs and all that stuff. And the base is actually pretty good. I like the way how it looks. It looks like a comic book style. But the end is the one where you'd be like, hey, what's going on here? Because the front one, I guess, the front one is the one where you put the and the back part is this one. As you can see here, there's a screw that you have to put in there on the back end. That's why there's dual. Normally you would only see one for the dynamic stand, but as you can see how big and massive this tail is, and sometimes it possesses some problems because of the weight. So you gotta counter it with the weight of Spider-Man itself, and then once you put in the house, there's a lot of things going on, but be careful. But this tail right here is beautiful. There's some movement in here. You can bend it around. It's via ball joint, and just again, nicely done, nicely painted. And let's take a look at the one thing that if this wasn't included, I would probably be a little bit more excited to get this. But I can imagine, like I said, with I can put Batman in there, because it seems like they're just standing on a rooftop basically, and there's some shots. And look at this, like it does have the printed, and I know it's cardboard, but it's a different kind of cardboard though. It's not one of those backdrop that you see that is really cheap. It does have some thickness to it, some weight to it. Scorpion there. Too bad, you got some of these graffitis in here, but I can position it again nicely that it wouldn't show in photography wise. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you could do here. Display option wise, it's gonna be hard to put, if you got a detail, to put Spider-Man in there as well. But look at the inside. So Hot Toys went out of their way to even paint the inside. You got some like a 3D look of that outlet right there. The broken glass, because you can put the tail going in there as well. So it is up to you. It's up to your imagination. And the top part is attached via magnet, so it's not just gonna deteriorate over time. Maybe it will, who knows. But let's talk about the suit. Again, there's tons of suits out there for Spider-Man. It's a blessing and a curse to be a Spider-Man collector, because it's a blessing because you have so many options. It's a curse because it's a curse to your wallet, because they all look good. Again, if I can collect them all, I will, but they're expensive. So gotta be choosy here and being selective. But hey, you know what they say about classics? They never go out of style. So that's why I gotta pick this up. And I know I already have like 4 Spider-Mans, maybe 5 in my collection right now, and man, they're just so good. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, I tried to hold off as much as I could for this classic suit Spider-Man, but every time I think about Spider-Man when I was younger, when I was 7 years old, this is the image that just pops in my head. I have a Spider-Man cake when I was younger, and he looks like this. And I appreciate, the Tom Holland, the Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. I'm gonna get them all as well, but I feel deep inside of me that I have to get this look. And regardless if it's like a PS4 suit or not movie, suit, whatever. But this just, this is one of those nostalgic ones that just has a special place in my heart. I didn't meant to take that that angle right there, but yeah, I just want to show you, the body type that he does have here. The material that was used is one of those rubber that just kind of bounces back, so it feels like you'll be fine. Head sculpt wise, just like any Spider-Man out there, PS4 at least, it's nicely done. It feels like the rubbery material that you see in a ball or something. The eyes are magnetized. They went away with that seam on the forehead now. You won't see that nowadays, but it's nice. It's very nice. You could, I didn't even try because it's not accurate, but you could, I guess, pop in, but it's gonna be small. I'm assuming like the Tom Holland head sculpt, but there's third-party PS4 Peter Parker heads out there, so maybe if you want to dive into that. I'm not gonna go down that deep. This is fine with me. I want to showcase him in this classic suit form, so just want to show you the different kinds of eyes that he comes with. Kind of like that was the wide open eyes. This is kind of like the semi wide open, and the other one is just it's kind of mad or something. So back then I kind of like pinched the top, so the top, the middle portion, but now you can see a seam where your fingernails could kind of jam into and remove those eyes. Articulation wise, it's kind of like a soft ratchet. You can feel it, but there's bunching up happening, as you can see there. You can move it forward as well if you're brave enough, but again, I wouldn't leave them for too long. You can see the bunching up happening all over the suit. And this is not made out of fabric. This is made out of thin rubber. I mean thin because you can move around. If it's like a Batman rubber, it's not gonna budge. But here you can have some movement on his waist. Again, everything's ratcheted here. On the legs and all that stuff. You can bend the knee. You can bend the elbows. You could do a lot of movement here, and even the ankles has pivot. You know what? He has some toe articulation as well. If you look under the shoe and those nice threads. So perfect for posing. For photography, you can achieve some poses, but I wouldn't leave them, in that pose for too long to avoid, future damages. Speaking of poses, I don't know how they achieve those poses. on the website. I mean, obviously they photoshopped it because you can't see the pole, but in here it takes a lot of practice, I suppose, with that pole, because again, the weight of Spider-Man and then the tail, there's like a weight counterweight option that's happening there, so be careful when you're posing them. And here he is, like on top of the building, with the background. And like I said earlier, you could use this in different figures. As you can see here, he's just on top, just using his phone and all that stuff, just chilling there. You know what, I made a mistake. I should have used this background on another scene. Like I should have used the clouds on that one, because on this clouds, the clouds actually moving, you just can't feel it, I suppose. But it's nice, like he's battling, and on top of this chimney, or no, it's not even a chimney, it's a corner of a house, because you see a window. But it's nice, like I mentioned earlier, it is beautiful. And then you display them, it kind of tells a story. Now without that, without the backdrop, it's still pretty solid. As you can see here, it's a part of the game. I downloaded like a backdrop of the game right here, and he meshes in well. Just beautiful. Just a beautiful rendition, representation of Spider-Man, a classic one, if I might add. If you decide to pick this one up and add it to your collection. I know this came out like a while back now, but like I said, I was trying to resist it as much as I could. And then I put a poll out there, and he was the second one. And I was just like, you know what, I'll just get them all. And speaking of getting them all, I just want to show you how he looks like compared to, the movie, I guess, iteration villains. You got Venom from the movie Venom, and Mysterio here. And I still think it works out great. If you missed out on Tom Holland Spider-Man and you don't have nothing and you don't want to wait, this is not a bad option. And speaking of which, this is it. Tom Holland himself with a classic suit Spider-Man with a meme pointing here. So, you can stand in the place of Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. In the meantime, while we're all waiting, we all know we're getting them, but just in the meantime, I still think they look good. But, with that being said, there you go. Final thoughts on this figure. At $260, and I know it doesn't come with any head sculpts, and I knew that coming in because it is a PS4 version. I still think it's pretty solid. I think it's a pretty solid release. It's up to you, because there's going to be a lot of Spider-Man coming up soon. We're going to have Tobey Maguire and the Garfield Amazing Spider-Man, and you might pick up 2 or 3 suits for that No Way Home. So at the end of the day, do you really want to add another Spider-Man into your collection if you already even have one existing? You're the only one who can answer that. If you are a hardcore Spider-Man fan, go ahead. You can't go wrong with a classic suit. This is not going to change. This suit is embedded in the history of Spider-Man, so this is not a one-off where you're not going to see them again. This is just forever, right? So I think in that sense, if you think about it that way, then yes, this has, a spot in your collection. However, if you're just collecting purely the movie Spider-Man, then, and you're thinking, hey, I don't want to spend, then I totally understand if you skip on this. But man, just for me, if I have to pick up one from that PS4 game line, because I did sell the initial, what do you call that, advanced suit where the Spider-Man logo was white. I sold that because I knew I wanted this. So it serves dual purpose for me. But let me know in the comments how you feel about this suit. Is this something you're thinking of picking up? Or are you Spider-Man'd out? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. I want to thank all my subscribers, the members of the channel for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.